In a sun-drenched forest, vibrant with life, all the animals were chattering with excitement. A grand race was about to begin. Among them was the hare, known throughout the woods for his incredible speed. He was bragging, as he often did, about how no one could ever beat him. "I am the fastest creature alive," he declared, puffing out his chest. "No one can even come close to my speed." The other animals, used to his boasting, just rolled their eyes. But then a quiet, steady voice spoke up from the crowd. It was the tortoise, known for being slow and methodical. "I will race you," he said calmly. The hare burst out laughing, a loud, booming laugh that echoed through the trees. He doubled over, holding his sides. "You? You want to race me?" he sputtered, wiping tears of mirth from his eyes. "That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Why, I could run circles around you before you even took your first step. You'll never win." The other animals giggled, but the tortoise remained unfazed. He looked the hare straight in the eye, his gaze unwavering and full of quiet determination. "We shall see," the tortoise replied, his voice as firm as his shell. "Slow and steady wins the race." The hare just scoffed, shaking his head in disbelief. "Fine, old-timer, let's race. This will be over before it even starts." A wise old owl was chosen as the judge, and a finish line was marked far down the path, near the edge of the woods. The stage was set for a most unusual competition. With a loud hoot from the owl, the race began. The animals lining the path erupted in cheers. True to his word, the hare shot off like an arrow from a bow. A cloud of dust was all that was left in his wake as he vanished down the path in a blur of white fur. He was so fast, he was out of sight in mere seconds. The tortoise, on the other hand, began his journey with a single deliberate step. Then another, and another. He didn't rush. He didn't look at the cheering crowd or the empty path ahead. He simply focused on moving forward, one steady step at a time, his eyes fixed on the distant goal. The crowd watched for a moment, then many started to wander off, assuming the race was already decided. How could the slow, plodding tortoise possibly catch up to the lightning-fast hare? The hare ran, and soon he was nearly halfway to the finish line. He glanced back over his shoulder. The path behind him was completely empty. He couldn't even see a speck that might be the tortoise. "Ha!" he chuckled to himself. "I told him. He's probably still back at the starting line." The sun was warm, and the hare felt a little tired from his initial sprint. He saw a shady spot under a big leafy tree. "I am so far ahead," he thought, "that I have plenty of time for a little break. I'll just rest my eyes for a moment, and when I wake up, I'll still have time to finish the race and probably have lunch before that slowpoke even gets here." Feeling incredibly pleased with himself and his brilliant plan, the hare lay down in the soft grass. The gentle breeze and the buzzing of the bees soon lulled him into a deep, comfortable sleep, dreams of his inevitable victory dancing in his head. Meanwhile, the tortoise just kept going. He didn't stop. He didn't get discouraged. He just put one foot in front of the other, his pace never changing. Plod, plod, plod. The sun beat down on his shell, and the path seemed to stretch on forever. But he never lost focus. His mind was clear, his goal singular. Reach the finish line. He saw the birds in the trees and the butterflies fluttering by, but he wasn't distracted. He was a small, determined creature on a very long journey. After some time, he came upon the shady spot where the hare was sleeping. He could hear the hare's gentle snores. The tortoise looked at the sleeping figure, a hint of a smile on his face, but he didn't pause. He didn't gloat or try to wake him. He just continued on his way, step by steady step, passing his overconfident rival without a sound. Plod, plod, plod. He was making slow, but undeniable progress. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Suddenly, the hare's eyes fluttered open. He yawned and stretched, feeling refreshed from his long nap. "Ah, what a lovely rest," he said to himself. "Now, where was I? Oh, right, winning the race." He looked back down the path, expecting to see the tortoise slowly making his way up the hill. But the path was empty. He must have given up and gone home, the hare thought with a smug grin. He stood up, shook the grass from his fur, and prepared for his final, triumphant sprint. He bounded towards the finish line, feeling confident and carefree. But as he rounded the final bend, his heart sank. A crowd of animals was gathered at the finish line, cheering wildly. And there, just crossing the line, was the tortoise. The forest erupted in a deafening cheer. "The tortoise wins! The tortoise wins!" shouted the squirrels and the rabbits and the badgers. The hare skidded to a stop, his jaw dropping in disbelief. It couldn't be. He, the fastest animal in the forest, had lost to the slowest. He stood there, frozen, as the other animals lifted the triumphant tortoise onto their shoulders. The tortoise smiled, tired, but incredibly proud. The hare walked slowly towards him, his ears drooping with shame. How did you do it?" he stammered. The tortoise looked down at him kindly. "I just kept going," he said simply. The hare looked at the ground, finally understanding his mistake. "You were right," he said quietly, for all to hear. "Slow and steady truly does win the race." And so, the humble tortoise taught the proud hare, and everyone in the forest, a valuable lesson that day. It's not always the fastest or the flashiest who come out on top. True success comes from patience, perseverance, and never giving up, no matter how far away the goal seems. Steady, consistent effort will always triumph over arrogant talent that takes its gifts for granted. Thank you so much for joining us for this timeless story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more classic tales. We'll see you in the next video.